2013.
Mr. Figua also described the unveiling of the logo as an important milestone for Nana, as it will enable Gambians access iodized salt.
And the inauguration of the national IDT logo is an important milestone in the nation's drive towards the marketing, production, and utilization of this simple but undeniably important commodity called iodized salt.
The Minister of Trade, Keba Toure, did the official launching of the national logo on behalf of the Vice President and Minister of Women's Affairs, Her Excellency Ajah Dr. Aissatou Njie Seydi. He welcomed the creation of a new logo, saying it will ensure uniformity among the salt-producing companies.
I wish to use this opportunity to remind this August gathering of the political commitment and will on nutrition that has amply been demonstrated by the creation of an appropriate institution, legal and administrative framework with a national council and a board on nutrition, among others.
The unveiling of the national logo is expected to promote the consumption of iodized salt, which currently stands at 23% of the population. It is also anticipated that this launching and several other strategies, if successfully implemented, household consumption of iodized salt will rapidly increase to reach the national target of 80% utilization.
Well, time now to take our first break. When we come back, we'll continue with more news.
Grts introduces a brand new show, Buddies Night Out, a show for you and your friends to win fabulous prizes. But you win only if you answer questions we ask you correctly. To be part of the show, you should know the numbers by now. Type BUDDIES, Buddies, to your favorite network, AfriCell 2020-200, QCell 30-30-300, Chromium 60-60-600, and Gamcell or 999-0909, and we will call you back. Make sure you have 4 friends ready to participate. Talk to you soon.
Welcome back. An attack on a university campus in Nubi, a town in the northeast of Nigeria, last Tuesday has left several students dead. The massacre, which is still unexplained, has left residents of the area and students at the university worried. As we hear in this report, police say the killings might have been a result of rivalry among students, but university officials are not buying that.
Past Tuesday, the attackers showed no mercy, raiding the university campus at Mubi in the northeast of Nigeria. They hit the campus at night when residents were sleeping, hacking students to death by machete or shooting them down in their homes.
So when I came out in the morning, I saw the cars, and I entered the other house of my neighbors. So they entered the house again, they put fire on one block. We went to round our neighbors, we meet about 26 cops, which they shot them down.
3 days after the massacre, many details are still unclear, right down to the number of dead. The police say 25 people were killed, local residents say 40. The police say that the killers knew their victims as they called them out by name before killing them. Police officials are continuing to arrest people without giving any details. The police said the killings might be linked to rivalries among student groups, but university officials denied it. The radical Islamic group Boko Haram may have been involved. Many students have left the campus without waiting for the results of the investigation.
Residents in Mali are urging government officials to open a dialogue with radical Islamist insurgents holding sway in the north of the country. The plea came after representatives of communities and government officials held a 2-day conference on the crisis, and thousands of people have lost their homes to heavy floods in Somalia. For more on these and other stories, we turn to the news roundup.
Somali and African Union forces continued their advance into the Somali port city of Kismayo. Although most of the Shabab retreated last weekend, there are still pockets of resistance. The retreat also left a power vacuum, which is slowly being filled by clan militias. These 2 men were arrested by AMISOM troops on suspicion of having carried out an attack on Tuesday. According to an AU officer, as many as 200 Shabab fighters are believed to be hiding in the city. Residents in northern Mali are urging the government to open a dialogue with the Islamist insurgents. Their plea was heard during a 2-day meeting this week with the government in Bamako, in which representatives from civil society groups in the north detailed the hardships and violence suffered under the Islamists. Residents are afraid that military intervention by Malian troops would only worsen the situation and cost thousands of lives. The outcome of the meeting was inconclusive. Participants said that no decision had been reached. The so-called abortion ship Aurora set sail from Port Smeer in Morocco. It was reportedly escorted from the harbor by Moroccan authorities. The ship is operated by a Dutch NGO, which voyages round the world offering women abortions. Although no operations were actually performed, Moroccan police searched the vessel. Protests against the campaign were staged at the port. Abortion is illegal in Morocco, and the health ministry said the ship was not authorized to operate on its territory. It was the first time the ship had docked in a Muslim country.
18 school children have died in a mudslide in northwestern China. The landslide occurred just as students were entering their classrooms, and the battle between the two American presidential hopefuls in America continues as both candidates push to become America's next president. We have details of those stories and others in this World News Roundup.
18 school children and one local resident were killed in northwestern China when a landslide engulfed their school and two homes. The landslide struck Thursday morning as the students were arriving for classes they were making up due to deadly earthquakes last month. Rescuers worked overnight and recovered what they believed to be the last body from the collapsed school building. A second landslide, which occurred just after noon on Thursday, forced authorities to evacuate about 800 residents in the area to safer locations. Venezuelans are preparing to go to the polls to elect their president Sunday. Hundreds of thousands of people crowded the streets of Caracas to hear President Chavez make his final pitch ahead of the election. Chavez is seeking a new 6-year term. The crowd of supporters waved flags, danced and chanted. Meanwhile, his rival, Enrique Capriles, was winding up a marathon tour through the country. While Chavez remains the favorite to win, with a 10-point lead over his rival, Capriles has proven to be a powerful challenger. President Barack Obama went on the attack at big rallies Thursday after his lackluster performance in the previous day's debate against Mitt Romney. Obama called on voters not to be duped by his rival, but to focus on who he called the real Mitt Romney, who he said promised tax cuts for the rich. Meanwhile, reinvigorated by his energetic debate performance, Romney paid a visit to the vital swing state of Virginia with his vice presidential nominee, Paul Ryan. Romney has gained the endorsement of the National Rifle Association, the big, powerful gun rights lobby.
Now take a look at some sports. La Liga leaders Barcelona are set to lock hands with current champions and arch rivals Real Madrid in the biggest showdown of any league fixture in Europe. The Catalan club is leading the top division and are 8 points clear of Real, while CNN's Pedro Pinto sat down with fellow Portuguese Jose Mourinho and asked a special one whether he is concerned about Barcelona's early season impressive form.
No. Not at all. Not at all.
Even with the points difference?
Even with the points difference. Last season we had 10 points difference. We had 10 points difference. We draw 2 matches. We don't even lose. We draw 2 matches, and with 6 points. We felt the pressure. They felt they could do it. We went to Barcelona to play the crucial match with 3 matches to go. So for me the point is Real Madrid to reach again the level that made us champion last season. And in this moment the team is going back to normal levels, and when we are in our normal level, I don't care about 6.
I think when Real Madrid plays against Barcelona, I'm convinced that everything depends on Barcelona. If Barcelona plays good football, Real Madrid has no one chance. That's what I think, and that's what I maintain. And the Clásico will be in Camp Nou, so my thought is even bigger in Camp Nou.
In terms of the points, the game inevitably has perhaps more importance for Real Madrid than it does for Barcelona. It's an opportunity to cut that gap, which is surprisingly big this early in the season. So I suppose from that point of view, Madrid have perhaps more pressure. The relationship does feel like it's calmed a little bit this season. And Pep Guardiola was very interesting when he talked about that run of 4 games in 19 days. And he was asked on the eve of the final of the 4 games, what's this been like? And he said, long. And I think that sums up how it had become for everybody. I think we all felt that it was a bit much. Now some of the tension has been taken out of it, some of it.
And before we go, reminder of headlines. The Vice President and Minister